everyone. Welcome to our YouTube channel. This is the continuation video from the web series AWS for Developers. In the previous video, we saw how we can set up a S3 to host our static website. So the setup was pretty much straightforward and it does a lot of things. But the problem with it actually solved our lots of problems. But the problem with the previous setup, we could not use the SSL. So to use the SSL certificate, what we need to do, let me just bring up a straightforward diagram. So yeah, that's our setup diagram. So in this, in the previous setup, what was happening? So if a user, imagine this is our user, and he hits actually www.mycompany.com. So what happened? The request goes to Route 53, and from the Route 53, it directly goes to our S3 bucket and serve the content. But this request is entirely insecure request without any encryption. So if we really wish to implement the encryption at transit, or you can say SSL implementation with our S3 bucket. So what we need to do is we need to put a CloudFront distribution on top of our S3, and then we could utilize the AWS ACM. After the implementation of AWS CloudFront, what will happen? What would be the flow actually? So user request, imagine HTTPS www.mycompany.com. So the request will go to Route 53. From the Route 53, it redirects to CloudFront distribution. At CloudFront distribution, a SSL certificate will be consumed or implement through AWS Certificate Manager, which is also known as AWS ACM. And from there, it pulls the content from S3 bucket and serve back to our user. So it's pretty simple and straightforward implementation. If we would like to implement SSL while we were hosting our S3 bucket, while we were hosting our static website through S3 bucket. So yeah, let's begin with the setup. We already have a bucket setup, which known as static.cm cloud lab 1662.info. So it can be accessed through this URL. But now what we need to do is we need to implement the SSL CloudFront distribution on top of that. So what we'll be doing is we'll be creating a CloudFront distribution. So here we can choose our as a origin. We can choose our S3 bucket. From there, if you have multiple paths, like if you set up multiple website in a single S3 bucket, so you can specify the path like V1 or maybe V2 or maybe V3. So this is up to you. So since we do not have any path-based routing or we do not have any subdirectories within our S3 bucket, so we are leaving it as blank. So it will be this name automatically picked up by the CloudFront distribution setup. If you wanted to send some custom header, so I mean request header, so you can specify all those request header from here. And then if you want to enable the shield, origin shield, so this can be enabled from here. So we are leaving it as a blank because we are not going to set up the origin shield. So it actually protects you from DDoS and extensive load. Then we have a cache behavior. So our pattern will be static. If we have different pattern for cache, like if you want to enable the caching for JPG images or PNG images or CSS images, we can specify over here. At this location, we can specify the compression while we were sending content to our user. So we will be leaving it as a blank. With the yes default setting. This is the viewer policy. This means user can open a request with plain HTTP, and it can also be manually open HTTPS request. So we can redirect HTTP because whenever someone access our website with plain HTTP, the request automatically redirects to HTTPS. So that's the best option while we were setting up our SSL using CloudFront. So then these are the requests that we would like to allow maybe if you do not have much request or much operations, so you can choose your own option for allowing HTTP methods. So this is something we are not configuring. You can enable the cache policy, or there are different cache policy available pre-built by AWS, or you can create your own policy from here as well. At the moment, we are leaving it as a blank, or with caching or optimized with the option that actually recommended by AWS for S3 origins. So if you have different origins, so you can choose other options as well. So like cache disabling, like if you are serving the dynamic content, so you can choose this one. So this is the cache policy. We are leaving it as a none, but you can use coarse S3 origins, so only S3 origins are allowed, or if you have elemental and all viewer. So there are a lot of request policy, but at the moment we are not targeting to implement the origin policy, so we are leaving it as a blank. If you want to implement some response header, so you can implement response header from here. There are some additional settings we are not going to deep dive. Then here you can implement the WAF as well. Since we do not have any WAF enabled, so we are leaving it as a blank. So this is the point which actually you need to specify that your domain from you actually wanted to host your website. So let's say you we actually serving the static content from here. So we will be calling it as a static dot mycompanydomain.com. If you have any other additional domain from where you would like to access your CloudFront distribution, don't forget to mention. Otherwise, you won't be able to access if you do not specify the domain name. So whatever the domain name from you wanted to serve your CloudFront distribution, so do specify, otherwise it won't work. So in our case, we will be calling it as a sample dot what's the DNS name? This is the DNS name. So I'll be copying the DNS name. So I'll be accessing this particular through sample.cloud cmcloud lab 1662.info. So that's why I'm adding. So when I'm adding this domain. So from here, we need to specify the ACM certificate. Let me show you the ACM certificate creation process. So you can go to AWS ACM. If you search for ACM, certificate manager will be popped up, and from there we can click request a certificate. We'll be requesting a public certificate. So click on the next button. Here we need to specify the fully qualified domain name. In our case, sample.cmcloud, this domain. So if you wanted to add more names to your domain other than this, you can specify more. Like you can add API. So this certificate is only valid for these domains, or you can say specify static dot. So we already have a static domain, so we are leaving it as a sample dot. So the validation type would be DNS. So because since our DNS is also hosted on Route 53, so we are using DNS validation. So we will be requesting. So once it requests, so you will see we already have a certificate for static. So that doesn't give a new certificate, doesn't show. We are not able to see the new certificate because we already requested a static one. So that's how you can request your ACM certificate. So you can choose your certificate from here, and this is a costly option. We are not going to deep dive into this. If you wanted to enable the different TLS version or maybe older version, you can choose, but we are going with the TLS 1.2, which is recommended. From here, you can enable the support for HTTP2 as well. HTTP2 is little faster than HTTP1 since the protocol is new. This is the default root path. Let's say whatever the default file. In our case, index.html is placed on our root path. So we are specifying index.html. If you have home.html or home.php or whatever the HTML file you have on your root, you can specify over here. After that, you can click on the create distribution. This will take around 15 to 20 minutes. To save our video time, we already set up a distribution which is named as uh, static. You can see it's deployed some time ago. It might be like 15 minutes. So it's like 30 minutes before from here now. So we can go and access this URL. We'll be copying static.cm cloud link and we'll be accessing to here. So yeah, our website is open. If we go to certificate, that certificate was issued by Amazon. Let me just bring up. Just a moment. So that certificate website is this, the certificate issued by Amazon. And if we click on the certificate, so we will see some more information. That certificate is issued today, and the DNS name that supports actually this. So yeah, I hope this video helps you to build your skills around site hosting with AWS. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our video. Thank you for watching this video.